Good afternoon, everyone. Let me kick it off with a quick show of hands. How many of you are here from customers' organizations? Okay, almost 1/4, I see. How about partners' organization? Okay, 3/4. It's good to know. How many of you are relatively new to Dynamics 365 for operations? I mean, just kind of never used is also an example. Yeah, okay. So we do have few folks here. And for folks who have been using it, how many of you have used the support experience from our client, submitting an issue from the client? Have? Okay, quite a few. Okay, that's good. That's good. Thanks for that. It's going to help us in our presentation today. So my name is Anupam Sharma. I'm an engineering program manager with Dynamics CX organization. I'm primarily responsible for servicing and support framework for Dynamics 365 for operations. I'm here joined by Trish and Dima, and they'll introduce themselves as they come on the stage. So let's quickly go through our objective for today and our agenda. All right. So our objective today is, as you go out of this session, you should be aware of support offering that we have both for customers as well as for partners. Right. So we'll start with that first, and we want to make sure that you have really understood that. The second thing is we will give you an end-to-end demo of our support experience, starting from the client to LCS, which will cover all the personas. So the goal there would be for you to understand how the support experience is enabling collaboration across organization, customers and partners and Microsoft, and also how it is empowering business users to be able to report issues from client, and how we are using the actionable telemetry data to quickly troubleshoot the issue. So that's our second objective. And third is we will give a quick view into listening systems that we are enabling. By listening systems, I mean the feedback system that we are enabling within our product. We'll do a quick view into that also towards the end. So as I said, the agenda is we'll go through a support offering. And if there are any questions, we'll take those questions on support offering first. Then we'll go through our experience workflow, high-level view of workflow, and we'll go through the end-to-end demo of it. Then we will have a Q&A on the workflow. And after the Q&A, we'll give at least 5 to 10 minutes to go through the listening system walkthrough. All right, so with that, let me invite Trish here to walk us through the support offering for customers first.
Great. Can you hear me? Good. I will try to not make too much noise with this thing. And I may just have to hold it. Maybe not. Okay. So I saw there were some customers in the room. So we'll talk a little bit about what our customer support offerings are for Dynamics 365 for operations. And then we'll flip over to the partner experience. Before I do that, I'd just like to say that, as Anupam and Dima get into the support workflow and that whole experience, when you have a plan or when you have a subscription really to Dynamics 365 for operations, you are entitled to access Lifecycle Services. So they'll walk through that whole support experience and what Lifecycle Services can do for you and your organization. When you first sign up for Dynamics 365, there's a process to make sure that you can get access to all the great benefits that are listed here on the screen. So things like e-learning, customer source access, and through that it requires a little bit of setup. And so if you struggle with that setup, most customers are always sent an email welcoming you to the service. Click here to sign up for customer source and add your key users who need access to that. If you run into problems at the end of the deck, all these decks will be downloadable. We won't go through all of the monotonous steps to do that today in this session, but we did include that just because it does come up often enough so that if you do run into some issues, there are steps on how to resolve that. And there is also a tech support website, or an email address actually, that you can just email our support team to get help to set that up. It's not hard. It's just a process that you have to go through to add your users who you want access to LCS as well as the e-learning benefits and customer source. And the email address is actually, it's pretty easy. It's itmbssup, itmbssup@microsoft.com. So if you run into issues. But again, the slides are at the end of the deck. So these are our customer offerings. So today, these offerings are only available through channels where we sell directly to our customers. So it would be in our volume licensing channel, so enterprise agreement. For any of the CRM apps or customer service, sales, field service, those are available also in our direct channel. So you can go out to the website and just buy them directly. These offerings are also available there. If you're buying through our cloud solution provider program, these offerings are not available broadly yet. We are working on being able to enable some of these offerings so that our partners can resell them to our customers as well. Typically, we find in our cloud solution provider program, partners are at that base level are providing the support and the support options directly to our customers, and we love that and want to keep that. But there are some scenarios where a customer may want to come direct, and we provide that option as well. Okay, lots of options. So at the base level at the bottom, subscription, we call that included support. So anytime you buy our offering, I don't know if any of you have been to the pricing sessions or kind of have an idea of how our subscriptions are sold today, but they're sold per seat. So when you sign up for a subscription, there's a base level of benefits that come with that. Unlimited support is included, but it is next business day response time. So these are for really your not critical cases, or if you have a partner that provides you that additional layer of support, that's really the kind of gets you started. Really, there's a getting started catalog and access to Customer Source, which is our customer portal. So if you're longtime Dynamics customers, we've had Customer Source around for quite a long time. It has a wealth of information included in it, as well as that's really where you go access your e-learning. The next tier up is called the Enhanced Support Plan. Really the key difference in that support plan is that it gives you a 2-hour response time for your Severity A cases. So it's just a faster response time. And then also you get the full training catalog unlocked at this level. Okay. The Enhanced Plan, if we just think about our operations offerings, it is $5 per user per month, and then if you buy Plan 2 is inclusive of both operations and the CRM-related applications, and that's $11. Professional Direct is really our hero SKU, or our hero motion especially for operations. We feel that because our ERP solution is super critical, and you may or may not need, hopefully you don't need 24/7 support, but if you do need it, the severity response time is 1 hour for sub-A cases, so it's really on par with our top offering, which is Premier. And then it unlocks 24/7 support. So with that, there's also a pooled group of account managers. We call them PDMs because we love acronyms at Microsoft, but they're a service delivery manager, essentially. I think of them as like a mini TAM. They help you with escalation assistance. They'll have a monthly meeting with you to help look at all of your support tickets that you have, or look at what you plan to do within your organization, and really help you to plan as you move forward. They provide a red carpet welcome, a number of other scenarios that we'll walk through on the next slide. But they're a pooled set of team members. And then the last key difference is that you get access to the Tier 2 support engineer. So it just routes you to a higher tier support engineer. Okay, and the last offering is Premier. Premier is a Microsoft-wide offering. It covers the Microsoft stack, so both on-prem and online products. The tiers that I spoke of earlier with ProDirect and below, they're very specific to Dynamics today. For those of you who have Azure, we do have ProDirect and a very similar tiered approach for our Azure services as well. And good news, we're working on making that just all be one thing in the future. So it won't be product specific as it is today. But for Premier, it's our top offering. Again, it covers the stack of products that we have across Microsoft. The big difference here is that you have a direct one-to-one relationship with your technical account manager. So it's not a pooled group of resources. You have a direct assigned technical account manager. The support from a reactive support time frame perspective is 1 hour, just like ProDirect, and it's available 24/7. Your TAM kind of goes a step further with the kind of work that they do around our cloud services. So they'll help to map all of your online dependencies across all of your products. Make sure that, and if in the event of a downtime, there is a process where you can decide what needs to happen, who needs to be called when a scenario like that exists, how often should they be calling, just really walking through that whole online support with you. Okay, so those are the customer offerings. I'd like to just dive a little bit deeper on ProDirect. So again, the elevated response time is the same as Premier, 1 hour, 24/7. So once you purchase the offering, what the ProDirect Service Delivery Manager will do is set up a red carpet welcome. During that welcome, it's really just all about how do I get the most out of my support benefits? How do I log a ticket? How can I access their community resources and forums, self-help? Really just going through the whole process of how to make the most out of your support offering that you've just purchased. From a setup perspective, they will help in some scenarios set up the service. So if from a CRM perspective, there's things like social listening where they'll help to get that set up. They'll also work with the Fast Track team from an engineering perspective to do a warm handoff from implementation support with Fast Track onto the post go live support. There's a couple of other benefits in terms of just being your customer advocate. So I mentioned escalation assistance earlier. So when you have an issue and it's a really hot issue and you really want somebody to put a little bit more pressure on it internally from Microsoft, they're there to be that person for you. So there's a phone number you can call. There's an email that you can get a hold of your ProDirect Service Delivery Manager with, and they'll help you through that process. Also with that, there's a benefit called Case Wellness, where as you're submitting tickets, maybe it's a Sev B. It's not a huge issue, but it's painful enough that it's a severity B issue for you, and they'll monitor the case just to make sure it goes through the process correctly, and the lines of communication are open essentially on what the problem is and the status of that ticket with the engineer. They'll do that monthly check-in with you. That's optional. If you don't want a monthly check-in, that's fine. If you want it twice a month, that's great. It's really up to you and your service delivery manager on how frequent of an engagement you want with them. They'll help you with product feature requests. Should you have things that would be nice to have in the product, they'll help you through that process. SIE handling is something where if in the event that the service does go down, they will proactively reach out to you and then help you through that mitigation process. So it's like an internal orchestration really with our services team, with our support team, and with you as the customer to make sure that whole process just goes smoothly. We all know that we never want the service to go down, but in the event that does happen, they'll help you through that process. And then lastly, they'll go through release and upgrade readiness. So when we are doing an upgrade, pointing you to the right material, what are the new features and functionality that's coming out, what can you expect from that upgrade, and how to just make sure you're going through the whole process with the sandbox and upgrade and testing and that sort of thing. Okay? So just quickly on our support offering for partners. Again, we have offerings very similar to the approach that we just walked through for partners. For your customers in the room that have these great support options through your partners, Microsoft always has their back. So that's really, this is kind of going through the stack of support offerings that we have for partners. And at that base level for our MPM partners, there is a basic level of support. You get unlimited cloud support, and the severity is 2, 4, and 8, respectively, for Sev A, B, and C. So that's the base level support. Our new offering is called Advanced Support for Partners, and for the legacy partners in the room, we had Dynamics Partner Advantage and Partner Advantage Plus. We've retired those and have been transitioning all our partners to ASFP. And that offering was primarily really built for cloud. to ensure that we had the right level of cloud support, but we are bringing forward any on-prem needs to that offering as well. So basically, for every all of our on-prem customers, you get a certain number of benefits for your enhancement plan revenue that you bring forward, and those are still assigned to make sure that we're still supporting those on-prem customers. For cloud, it's unlimited. The response time is 124, and it does unlock 24/7 support. And I have a deeper level slide on the next slide going through some more of those details. And then lastly is Premier Support for Partners. You can tell we don't like to change the names too drastically across these. Make it simple, but Premier Support for Partners, same response time as customer, 124 and 24/7 support. And again, it's a dedicated TAM. It all kind of looks the same. Okay, so just a bit more on ASFP, just since that is new. It's Advanced Support for Partners. I know we're really acronym heavy here. But the response time, again, is 1 hour. The big thing to call out here is you do have a services account manager. We had that in our prior offerings, too. I think it's been a great benefit to carry forward, very similar to that account management role, but very helpful in pushing out training, content, meeting with you one-on-one, helping to do that, support escalation. They do the proactive communications as well when there's a downtime or certain scenarios that our partners need to be aware of. Sessions like this, making sure that is made aware of. Technical content and training. So we have Dynamics Learning Portal is where we push out all of our learning content. That is a benefit of this offering as well. And then the last two are fairly new to our offering, but they're called Cloud Optimization Analysis and Support Practice Accelerator. Does anybody in the room have this offering, by the way? No? Okay. So that is a report that really the SAM can run for you that shows you a variety of information on kind of where your customers are at and their deployment and how things are going. So they'll send that to you, and we'll walk through the results of that. So it's a pretty powerful tool. I think I've heard lots of great feedback from partners that they really like it. And so that is ASFP. So again, both of those support offerings, once you buy them or have that base level subscription, that's really what entitles you or unlocks the access to this workflow that we're going to review now. And the response times that you get are based off of the offering that you purchase. Yeah, do you have a question?
They are global available?
Pardon me?
They are all global available?
Yes.
So the on-support also?
Yes.
On-site, sorry.
Yeah. Yes, all of the offerings are globally available, yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes? I'm sorry, what? Yes. Yes. Yeah, it will be on the application that they're going to walk through now. Yep, it will be a live demo. So with that, I can yeah, go ahead.
So we had a partner, and if we want the support, can we buy directly from Microsoft or you?
Are you a partner?
No, I'm just a user.
Okay, yep. So you can buy your support through your partner, or you can buy it direct from Microsoft. So either one. And a lot of times our partners have really great offerings, so it'd be best to talk to them first to see what sort of approach they offer. But absolutely, you can go to Microsoft.com. There's a support tab at the top, and you can kind of walk through these offerings that we have directly. But it'd be a great idea to talk to your partner about that too. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Does this relate with implementation? You have a subscription, you have the application, you have e-learning. So as a customer, you start implementing the product yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Does Microsoft support that if I have questions as a customer?
Well, we definitely recommend that you work with a partner. It is a little complex for those partners that are in the room. I'm not the implementation expert, certainly, but
Your partner as well.
okay.
I see the model changing.
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely, this is more reactive break fix, truly, not so much for implementation and implementation type scenarios, certainly. We see this more as once you go live and you're running into challenges or running into issues, there's a lot of scenarios where, especially with our larger customers, where they would like to contact Microsoft directly and have Microsoft skin in the game. So that's really the scenario where they would come direct. But certainly, by no means would this take over anything from a partner perspective.
It's application support functionality, support on functionality as well. It's not only bugs fixing.
Right. So Microsoft functionality, keyword. Yeah. So no different than really what we offer today for our on-prem scenarios. We do have offerings where customers can come directly to Microsoft. And so when they would, debug the scenario or figure out where the scenario, where the issue resides, is it Microsoft? Is it, the ISV code? And then it kind of bifurcates from there. Okay.
The two models stack up. I mean, if the end user, the customer, has a premium subscription, why would the partner need any other support?
Good question. So the question was, if a customer has a Premier offering, why would then a customer or a partner need an offering as well? So there's different scenarios that we see happen with our partners and partner-led offerings, where perhaps it's more application level support or additional training that's included in the partner offering. So the customer, it varies really. So we provide the option, and we suggest that it's best to work with your partner to find the best solution for you as you move forward in your implementation. Okay, so we'll have time for more Q&A if there's any other questions that pop up, but for now I'll pass it back to Anupam.
Sure. Thanks, Trish. Can I get the clicker? Yes. Great. Awesome. All right, so I think in this part of the session, we'll go through the workflow and the demo. But before we start the demo, I actually want to set some context in terms of what were the design principles we took into consideration while building this experience end-to-end, right? And some of these design considerations actually came from our learning from on-prem product. For example, the first one, if you see, for our on-prem product, there was no functionality available to the actual business users who's using the product to report an issue. If they have to report an issue, they have to go out of the client and then either file an email, figure out who the IT admin is, reach out to them, and there is no visibility for them. So we felt that, hey, as part of cloud solution, we really need to empower the business users. We can really increase their productivity. So if they have an issue, they can quickly file it from the client, right, and move on. So that's one thing that we learned from on-prem. Now, the second thing is we felt that given in a ERP world, there are multiple layers involved. Customers have partners, and then partners will work with Microsoft. A lot of time we felt in on-prem solutions where a customer is having an issue, they are working with partner. In some cases, that has not reached out to Microsoft, or we do not have a complete visibility, neither the customer nor the partners, where the issue is currently sitting. So we felt that we need to really solve this problem. We need to provide a collaborative platform where each party can come into one single place and see where their issue is currently sitting. Is it with customers' IT admin right now? Is it with partner? Or is it with Microsoft? And that's one single place to come and get an answer on that issue. So that's something that we have resolved as well. Now, the third, as we moved on to cloud, we felt that, yes, in cloud, we can collect all the telemetry data in terms of what was happening on the client when the issue was being reported, and connect that to the issue when it was reported. So we can very quickly enable our partners or customers' IT admin to quickly troubleshoot the issue, because they can actually look into the log for that specific time, and they can understand what the actual business user was doing and what error was thrown. So that was something we felt was really important. And we will walk through all these three key principles in our demo, but these were the key principles that we took into consideration. So before we move on to demo, I think one more thing I want to set is our tool is actually designed to work for any combination of personas. So it could have a customer working directly with Microsoft. It would work for that scenario as well, versus customer working with partner and partner working with Microsoft. So it would work for any combination of personas. But we'll take an example where we'll take 4 personas here for our demo, right? So we'll start with business users, customers' business users. When they encounter an issue, how they can report it from the client. And before reporting an issue from the client, they can actually search for an existing solution that Microsoft has already provided. And if they are IT admin themselves, they can request for that update to be made onto their environment. Or if they are not IT admin, they can request for that update to their IT admin if they are business user. So that is how we are empowering the business user, that they can search and report issue from the client. When they report the issue from the client, it goes into VSTS of that specific LCS project. So every AX7 deployment will have an LCS project. Every LCS project will have a VSTS as Visual Studio Team Services associated to it. And so we will send this into VSTS. And the reason we chose VSTS is we felt that partners will have their own incident management system as well, right? And there is no single solution for us to solve it for all the partners. But the basic advantage, two basic advantages that VSTS provides is, one, it gives you an open source API that you can hook up, you as a partners can hook up and fetch the data from different customers' VSTS if you want to export it to your own incident management system. And second, it provides customers an ability to add unlimited stakeholders. So VSTS on LCS project would be on customer subscription. They can add partners and other stakeholders to VSTS without paying any cost for it. So that's the reason we chose VSTS. But the issue from the client will go into VSTS, and all the issues that are in VSTS would be surfaced through lifecycle services and support experience in lifecycle services to all the other personas. So the issue, once it is submitted into VSTS, will send an email notification to the customer's IT admin that your business user has reported an issue. They can actually go open up that issue. It would have, as the issue was reported, we capture the timestamp, we capture the active browser session activity ID of the user, we capture the user GUID. They can go directly from that issue into log search and troubleshoot it in terms of look into the call stack to figure out, is this an access issue versus is this a partner's customization issue, or is this a Microsoft issue? So they can do that initial level of investigation. And considering a scenario that, okay, this was found to be a partner customization issue, they can look into the call stack to understand that is a customization issue, and they can assign that to partner in that VSTS experience itself. You have a question?
There are more partners involved with a customer in an LCS project. Can there be more VSTS connected to an LCS?
Right now, we have only one VSTS connected, but eventually we want to solve that where we can have partners VSTS connected and build that integration. It's in our roadmap to solve that for ISVs and partners, where ISVs can provide their VSTS and we can hook up this integration. But at this moment, there's just one VSTS, and our recommended best practice right now is that you can write PowerShell scripts or other scripts to fetch this information if you have your own incident management system from these VSTS. Yeah. But eventually, we'll integrate this with ISVs and other partner VSTS as well. So so in that case, the customer IT admin will assign it to partner, and partner will do the same level of investigation. They can look into the log search details in terms of really going to the root cause. And if it is a fix that they have to do, they can resolve it. And if it is something they realize this is a Microsoft issue, and we are taking a scenario where partner is providing support to customer, then partner can submit it to Microsoft. And once we get it, we obviously have our way of publishing solutions through issue search and update experience, and we'll go through that experience also. But once the fix is available, it can be applied to that environment, and then business user can actually validate that this is resolved. So I want to set this context, because when we go into the demo, it's very important to understand this high-level context as we'll go into each persona during the demo. But essentially, we are going to cover 4 different scenarios in our demo. If you see, the first 3 scenarios are resolved between business user, IT admin, and partner. Like any business user having issues related to permissions, that can be resolved by customer's IT admin if they have some access or permission issues. If it is a customization issue, that can be resolved between customer and partner. Right. And if it is something issue that has already been published by Microsoft but not yet applied to your environment, that can also be resolved before submitting it to Microsoft. But if you find that this issue is actually a Microsoft product issue, which, by the way, happen a lot of time, so in that case, yes, you can submit it to Microsoft, and that scenario will also cover. So with that, we will go through the demo of this end-to-end scenario with different persona. Let me invite Dima to give us the demo here.
Hello. My name is Dima Gorin. I'm the engineering lead for the issue support flow, update in LCS, and issue search. And I'm going to dive into the issue lifecycle that Anupam just described in a bit more detail. So, hang on a second. Okay. So we will start with an end user using Dynamics 365 for operations, and we will force an error to happen in the client here. So here the user sees this error, and so they've been instructed to, in case that they see an error, that they need to submit it to their internal support. So they can copy the error message. They can copy the accompanying data here, like session ID and activity ID. If they're filing it from the client itself, it's actually captured automatically. So what they can do is, under the question mark here, go to support. And the first thing that they will see is a search box. Now, this provides the ability for them to search through any fixes that have already been published by Microsoft. So in case this is something that already has a known solution, it kind of short circuits the whole process. They don't have to do any further investigation. And also, this search is related, it's tied to this particular Dynamics 365 environment. So it filters out anything that has already been applied here. So anything that's already been installed, it's not going to show you. Takes a few seconds to fetch the results. So now you can click on these, and it opens up Issue Search in another tab to kind of show you the details of what this particular item is. And here there are a couple of different things that you might see. So my user account here is an administrator, so I see the ability to actually download this hotfix. If you're not an admin user, there will be a request hotfix button here, so you can essentially what that does is it creates a VSTS task for your internal support, essentially requesting them to apply this hotfix to your environment. But let's say in this case this is not the issue I'm looking for, then I can go ahead and click Create. Also, if you're certain that it's not a Microsoft issue, you can skip the search process entirely. You can just click Create from the beginning. And so now there's a simple form here to kind of fill out some details on the issue that you encountered. And here you can upload any accompanying document. So if you took a screenshot of the error, for instance, or if you have a task recording that takes you through some of the repro steps that it took to get there, you can attach those to the issue, to the incident submission, and then click Submit. And then from the end user's perspective, at least for now, this is it. This is they've submitted the issue to their internal support, and now, if needed, support will contact them with any questions in case they have any more details that are required. So now, for the support person, for the internal support, they will get an email that looks a bit like this, telling them that an issue has been reported. And here's a link. The issue has been filed into the VSTS project that is tied to the LCS project from which this environment was deployed. So there's a link between the Dynamics 365 environment and its parent LCS project, and then that project is connected to VSTS. So here, if they follow the link, it opens it right here. This is the active issues list. It specifically filters it to the issue in question. So from here, they can click on it, and it takes them into the VSTS project where they can see more details. So here, they can take a look at the attachments that were added in the client. In the details, they can see the description that the end user provided. And down here, there's a bunch more information that was collected. So we can see the user email address that submitted the issue. So if I need to contact them, if I have more questions, then I can reach out. There's a user GUID, environment ID, browser session activity ID. Now these all come in helpful for the support person, whether it's the internal support, partner support, or later on Microsoft support. They can search through the logs that are collected from this environment and see what the details of the issue are. So here at the bottom, there's a log search URL. The same location could also be reached from LCS here. If you have the issue selected, you can click on the troubleshoot link. And that'll take you to this environment's monitoring page where you can see some of the. So essentially, it's an entry point into the logs, and then you can see things like if your SQL Server was experiencing a high load, for instance, it would show up on here. So you can see we had some activity here, and so from here I can go and view the raw logs. Now I could not enter any search terms and just see here's all the telemetry that's coming from this instance. Now there's a lot, so you would want to filter it in some way. So in this case, we know that we hit an error. And so we can search specifically for error. And so you can see this is just going through the last hour of logs. So this should show us the error that was encountered. And so here we can take a look at it and find the specific error message. So there's failed to create menu item with this name. And from here, again, you can see things like the activity ID, and so if you want to see what else happened within that session, within that activity, so you can take this activity ID and then search for that, and then you will see all of the related events. That takes a little bit more time, so I'm not going to get into all the details, but there's some other kind of targeted queries here. So it's not complete free-form search. So if you want to see crashes, deadlocks, events for a specific user, so you get the user ID as part of the VSTS item. Sure, question? Sorry, what was that? It's any environment. So this is it's there for production, for sandbox, dev test. Yep. It's not. Okay, I think I've seen it. Okay, so that. Okay. Okay. In any case, so from here, now in VSTS. So the customer IT admin then investigates the issue, and then if it's something that can be resolved by the customer support, then it's resolved right there. If they see that it's something that may be caused by something from the partner, then they can involve partner users within this VSTS project and assign the work item to them, and then they can collaborate on that investigation. And so that partner can have the same access to the environment monitoring, to the logs, and so they can investigate the issue from their side. And then let's say that they've determined that it's something that it's not caused by a customer, it's not caused by any partner customizations, and it's something that's actually a Microsoft issue. So from here, you can take this issue and you can submit it to Microsoft. So this is alternately another starting point. So you could go directly to this page. So for instance, you could go to the Submit it to Microsoft tab, and you don't have to escalate an existing VSTS incident. You can just create a new blank one. That doesn't come with all of the context that you get from an issue that's filed from the client, but that is also an option there. So here, let's say we click Submit to Microsoft. Now, here there is another stage where you can search through existing available fixes. Just because there's another, this is a different persona who's doing the search, so they may have some different search terms, or they have different knowledge that they might be using to go through this. And it will save them time. So if this is something that they identify that the fix already exists, then it'll be quicker to download and apply that fix rather than submitting it to Microsoft and then have another level of investigation. But let's say here none of these offer a fix for my issue. And so I go ahead and create an incident. So this is something that now we're just submitting it to Microsoft support, and then depending on your support plan, it'll have different SLAs, whether it's a basic plan or ASAP or Premier, as Tricia outlined. So here we can see since this is an existing VSTS incident that I'm submitting, so I can see the screenshot that I added from the client is also available here, so I can click the box and have that uploaded to Microsoft support. Okay, and at this point, so this has been submitted to Microsoft support. Here's my request ID number. So based on, I said that this might be causing some downtime, so it marked it as a severity B. And so now, again, there will be another level of investigation. So support will take a look at it, see if they can find any existing fixes, and try to get a local repro, and then submit it for fixing. And once it has been approved for fixing, it's going to show up as an issue, as an active issue in issue search. So first of all, from this page, you can now see this entry. So you can see the VSTS link that it corresponds to. Here's our support number, date that it was created. Now, in issue search, and I'm sure some of you guys have seen this, but there's some. So the red incidents are the ones that are currently in progress, so they don't have downloadable fixes yet. But if you click on them, if you know that either this is the issue that you submitted or it's one that that you are also having and want to keep track of, you can sign up to be notified. So that now I will be sent an email when this particular issue is published and available for download, and I can click here and view notifications. I can see all of the issues that I've already signed up for, and then once it's been fixed, tested, published, then it'll show up as a resolved issue here, as green, and then I'll be able to download it and apply it. And also on the environment page, you will see there's some update tiles that also. So issue search is kind of a general. There's no environment context that shows you everything that's available for your version. Now, on the environment page here, again, it's filtered out. So depending on what binary build and what X++ updates you have installed, it filters out anything that's already present. And you can also bundle them together. So if you have several X++ fixes to install, you can kind of essentially put 5 or 10 in your cart at once and package them and apply them all together. And okay, I think that's the end of our flow, so we can start with questions.
So what happens if, let's say, you have a production issue that you cannot replicate in Sandbox? You know, I've had that happen quite a few times with AX4. So is that something that you can still escalate to Microsoft?
Absolutely. I mean, as Dima walked you through, that telemetry events are available. So even though you're not able to reproduce it, you can actually go into telemetry logs and see what was actually happening. Can you kind of troubleshoot it at your level first to see is it related to any customization or a Microsoft issue? I think that will provide you. I mean, essentially, you do not need to repro it. Looking into the logs, you would be able to at least determine some high-level root cause on it. But if you are not able to, then absolutely you can submit it to Microsoft, and Microsoft support can help as well.
Yes.
Is there something to prevent duplicate issues? Because in this case, a broken menu item, I can imagine that all 50 users will submit an issue for it. Is there filtering?
So, okay, the question was preventing duplicate issues. So duplicate issues in your VSTS system, you mean? The short answer is no. There isn't currently anything that searches through that data for any duplicate issues. But we can take that note. That can be a useful thing to add. So,
Right. And
It doesn't search in your own VSTS, right?
correct. No, it only searches through. This is issue search data, so things that have been published by Microsoft. But there's certainly, so you probably noticed it said publisher Microsoft. So that is a model that can certainly be extended to include the customer's VSTS, partner ISV.
yeah, those scenarios are still in our roadmap. But that's a pretty good feedback.
We're discussing those, but yeah, they're not there yet.
So right now, when you go to the work items tab, all you see are the active issues. So in that case, what will happen is you will go into that tab and you'll see the similar issue being reported by multiple business users. So that would actually make you to do some more manual effort to go ahead and close it. But yeah, I think that's something that we can consider.
At the partner level, they have multiple customers.
Right.
Right.
I mean, in this case,
Customer cannot see the duplicates then on their partner.
Right, and that is also something that's under discussion. That we've heard that feedback that currently all the action takes place on the customer's VSTS project, and it gets complicated if you think about multiple customers, multiple partners. It gets very tedious, and so we're discussing what we can do currently to link VSTS instances between partners and customers.
correct. Yeah, you can. I think there are 3 questions. You can go ahead. I think you asked earlier as well. Yeah.
So, like, you had mentioned where there's customization issues and you can switch to a partner. What about submitting to your in-house developers? If you do that, all of our development is done in-house. We do not have partners like that.
Yeah, that's why we are putting into VSTS here. Your development team is also using the same VSTS, so those issues can be assigned to your developer. If you identify those to be related to, the call stack is related to what the work your team is doing, you can easily assign. Through this tool, you can do it, as Dima mentioned, through this tool, go to LCS and assign it here, or you can actually assign it in VSTS also directly. Right? So if your development team is not interfacing with lifecycle services, they can look into VSTS also directly.
So you would configure some internal processes.
Like it would go to them and
Yeah, you can build. Right now, I mean, it does not have those email notification to be sent out to person the issue is assigned to. We have not built it, but I mean, essentially, VSTS does provide offline notification that you can build on top of VSTS. You can build tiles on VSTS homepage. So, me as a developer, when I come, I see a tile which says issues assigned to me.
Okay.
Right? It will give you a count. So that kind of thing you can do it on top of VSTS already. Yeah.
You would have some internal triage process where somebody would take a look at the incoming issues and assigns them to the appropriate developers.
Go ahead.
Sorry. They had a workflow. The user will create a ticket, and admin IT will submit to Microsoft, or it's just a security setup.
So you're talking about a scenario. User has. Let me try to understand her question. So you're saying user has submitted an issue. It has gone to IT admin, and now you're asking how IT admin will submit it to Microsoft.
My question is it the workflow or the security setup? First thing, well, we want the user first and go to the IT, and the IT go to the Microsoft.
No, I mean, it's not, that's a recommended approach from our side, because when user report it, you get all the telemetry, browser activity, so you can basically troubleshoot it faster. But you can actually, as Dima walked through that, you can directly apply it, submit it to Microsoft also, right? I mean, you can go to submit it to Microsoft.
From the work items page here, so you can, so the IT admin can submit it here directly. And also, I mean, your end user, you know, if your end user has access to this LCS project, they can submit it directly to Microsoft as well.
I don't want the user to submit to Microsoft. Can I set up the security, or it's just workflow in the
Yeah.
website?
So only you can submit it to Microsoft through Lifecycle Services. I mean,
So it has to be submitted through here. So if the user doesn't have access to the LCS project.
Question is, can we disable the submit option from the site? Because there are many customers which are large companies and
Okay.
their support websites already integrated with other tools. So if we put user to submit also in here, then it will break all the workflow internally, and it's not okay. From the technical point of view, if you have a form error, it's okay. We'll go to the development team. But for errors like, I don't know, I don't see the price correct, or the item is wrong, that should go through the normal flow of a company. So could you implement in the future a normal option to
Yes,
disable that?
we do not have.
Workflow.
Yeah, we currently do not have way to disable it. We can disable things like not allowing user to go through that search on the client, right? You can disable that functionality, but we do not. We want people to use this because, as we said, the value it brings by connecting this directly to the telemetry information, right? So if you send it to your own system, you may actually lose that connectivity directly, right?
We have the telemetry on the user page.
Yeah.
On the system, on the user page, you have the telemetry ID, you can search afterwards. So from that point of view, you already have the tools without waiting.
Yes, I mean, then in that case, currently we do not have way to disable it for users. You can educate your user to go and use your tool. But eventually our goal is to make this much better, where we can, as I said initially, that the issues that we see that, there is no single place for you customers, partners, and Microsoft to come and see where the issue is currently sitting. And we have seen so many times in on-prem product where our business users, in the end, they walk away with a very bad experience for the product. Because, they have submitted an issue, and, oftentimes we do not have visibility, partner do not have visibility. So that is what we are trying to solve, but we are not saying that.
But sometimes the issue is not the issue. From the user, they just submit the issue, but sometimes it's not the issue.
So, because here if you submit the issue, it usually goes to the developers or the main product managers, which are assigned to the VSTS. If you are in a big company, usually this goes to the IT support, and they filter out the request, and then it comes to the development. So basically, if we have this option open, if you have 300, 400, 500 users, then there will be a lot of requests, because not all the users are or can be properly educated to use.
Okay, so you're saying you would like an option for this to be
Disabled.
to be basically.
Disabled or to be reconfigured specifically for the company. For example, if we use some other workflow, then it will show here the options. But if we want to use directly LCS, then yes. Because for example, now what we have done, we pull all the requests from Visual Studio and pull it out send it automatically to our internal system, and then send it to the flow, and we ignore everything that comes from VSTS.
Okay.
And then yes, we go in VSTS and fix the work items when the developers fix the code. But this is a workaround we try to
Sure. So I think, I mean, no questions there. I think, that's what we also will show you, the listening system that we are enabling, where you guys can share these ideas, and let's see what other partner community is saying in terms of the need for that feature. And obviously we can look into building into.
An issue for
Yeah.
small companies, but for big companies, it might be an issue because users usually click
Sure.
on everything.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, and I think you had one question. We missed you. Yeah, go ahead.
My question is around so if performance is lagging, or if you've got different groups and different concerns. Is that normally a pick up the phone Microsoft call, or is that a phone call? If group of this is one of those.
So usually, I mean, we have a service engineering team that are proactively looking into your environment when, in terms of they have ICM alerts already set up for each instance, where they see the CPU utilization is going up than the expected value, or the performance is degrading. So alerts are being issued, at least on the production environment. They are responsible for looking into production environment. So they actively work on it. I mean, proactively work on it before you notifying it to us. But in case that happens here, you can notify it through a support channel as well, as we outlined. Yeah, even in the event monitoring, you can see.
Another
Operations manager, like, this sort of change for some reason. Now I do a double log. I may or may not have access. Okay, that's slow. So I need to look at certain.
There's raw log on here.
Can you increase the period time here?
Yes, you can.
60 minutes.
Yeah, this is based on the issue. When you report the issue, we have a time there, right? So when a business user report the issue and he does not he does not put in the time, we automatically just set it for last 1 hour. But a business user can say that issue actually occurred to me yesterday. So this right now, it takes from the issue the time it was reported on the issue, but you can filter it, you can change it.
But longer than 60 minutes, I'm actually I don't think you can. So it does generate a lot of data, and it can really hinder the performance. You can adjust the window,
Yeah.
but
Right. I think.
So with the option for the user to log an issue, is there any way for you to set it up to integrate with a ticketing system like ServiceNow? Because for our company, we log everything in ServiceNow. That's how we track tickets and such. But using this, I can see the value because of all the
Yeah.
natives. But we still need to log tickets. Is there any way to automate that?
You can write. I mean, VSTS provide this open API to pull in the data from VSTS, and you can actually write a PowerShell script to read all the data and put it and import it into your internal system. But yep, and you can. It is a read API. You can write it back also. So let's say your incident is closed on your ServiceNow portal. You can write it back into VSTS that this issue is closed. So you can do all that as well. I mean, that's the reason we chose VSTS. But as I said, initially we are looking into way of integrating other partners' VSTS and other VSTS, like ISV's VSTS as well, into this workflow. There is actually a white paper. It's being in progress. In fact, one of the partner have attempted this, and they were successful in doing it. And they have written a white paper, and it would be shortly shared on our blogs or on the Yammer group.
And
Yep,
also
it is.
Some nice features with VSTS. For example, you can integrate it with Slack, or even Video, or Team app from Microsoft, and receive notifications on your mobile phone.
If you search on, Bing on VSTS API, you would be able to find a lot of documentation already on TechNet. Yeah. All right, I think you had a question.
So when you log a support case, you got an email. The email is sent to the users who create an LCS. Is it possible to segregate this so if support cases in HR that the finance subject matter expert doesn't get it?
So the incidents that are created in the client,
Yeah.
they are not, so right now they're not automatically categorized by feature area in any way. So right now the notifications are sent to the LCS project owners. So anybody who is the owner on that particular project will get it. And it's that for some of these, if it's a form, you can maybe make that distinction. In some cases, it may be hard to automatically categorize because we don't give you a field to say that this is HCM or SCM or.
That's a good feedback. I'm sorry.
Well, to the question earlier about the duplicates that they did, you have the source API if you want to have something like duplicates removed, if you have filters, and then you can send back to DSPS, the changes you want to make for duplicates, and same thing for the contacts here if you're trying to categorize them.
Right.
Yeah. So the VSTS that's used here is fairly, so it doesn't have a lot of structure. It's fairly general. So yeah, that.
But you can add tags and things like that. Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Any questions? Yeah.
About the current problem we have, we managed to work around it, but temporarily. So when we usually bought the licenses for the dynamics for operations, we needed to buy them where we have our HQ. And at that moment, Microsoft in that country didn't offer direct, you couldn't buy directly from a license provider, so we needed to buy it from a CSP. And we experienced an issue now on LCS and support. We cannot submit the final issue to Microsoft. We have a workaround, we go directly to the architect, but it's a problem in progress. So we reached to the last step, and it says select a topic and send it.
Okay. Okay.
And,
All right.
the final thread on this is it's an issue from the CSP provider. So now we're trying to see how we can switch all the instance directly to a license provider and build everything. But maybe there is a way to fix this.
Yeah, I think essentially what you're saying, it looks like a support plan setup issue. When you're seeing no topic error, we are fixing that error message as I'm speaking. But essentially, the reason for that is you do not have the right product in your support plan. You do not have Dynamics 365 for operations in your support plan, and that is the reason we could not find the support topic associated with it. Yes. So I think, as Trish mentioned, we do have some email address for whenever you face issue like where you're not able to find file support ticket. Essentially, most of the time the issues are due to support plan setup issues. So we have a DL set up specifically to help customers and partners for that, and the DL is IT MBS SUP. You need to provide your customer source or partner source account number and just your steps in terms of what problems you're having, and they can help you in setting it up correctly. Okay, so let me sync up more with you offline. As I said, I see why you are getting that error. Sure. Okay, so let's discuss more offline today after the session, and we can look into it. Okay.
We didn't really spend any time there on that telemetry screen, but we as a partner need a way of not being required to go into each of our clients' LCS instances to get to the telemetry, because you very much want to be piping that into our global support feed, but we have dozens and dozens of clients that we're monitoring, and we can't be going into every single one of those.
Right.
We need some way of being able to consolidate
And-
telemetry.
Right, and so this is again something that we have been hearing, and that's something that's under discussion to essentially formalize the relationship between partner and customer organizations to allow these connections between LCS projects. So with which you could do the STS project connections, telemetry data access, issue or fixed publishing, things of that sort. But it's in the early.
Isn't as bad,
issue, yeah.
isn't as problematic, but the telemetry
telemetry
Right.
is, I think, his.
That's a monitoring thing, so we don't,
Yes.
know which one we might need to be watching at any one point in time.
Sure, that's a good feedback, and we will definitely record it and pass it on to the right folks. Great. All right. Any more questions from anyone? Okay, if you have any more questions, you can reach out to us. Email address is here, anupamas@microsoft.com and dcon@microsoft.com. And as I said, for any support plan setup issue, itmbs@microsoft.com. What time is it? Okay. All right, so I just want to conclude this part of the session with some key takeaways. So one of the important takeaway here is the support experience. Our goal is to increase the productivity of business user by empowering them to report issues and search for existing issues within the client. We are also enabling faster resolution in terms of by providing actionable telemetry data and linking that to issue. So each of the scenarios, excuse me guys, each of the personas can look into onto the log search data to enable faster resolution. And again, we are surfacing more self-help starting from LCS to the client to enable the deflection for business users and customer site admin. So with that, I want to take some more time to quickly walk you folks through the listening systems that we are enabling. I'll start with Net Promoter Score because that we have already launched and it's available right now. Has anyone seen a screen like this popped up here on their client? You have seen it. Okay, all right. So Net Promoter Score is an industry standard metric to measure customer perceived quality. And the way it is done is we ask customers to how likely are they going to recommend this product to friend or colleague. And they have to rate it from 0 to 10. People who rate it higher are our promoters. People who rate it lower are our detractors. And obviously we ask for the feedback in terms of why you think, why you rated 0 versus 10. That actually, NPS rating is one thing that we are tracking across all our online services within Microsoft. And we want to make it standard across all the online services. But apart from rating, the other important thing for us is to look into the why feedback. And we really would appreciate all of you when you get this pop-up to think and provide us this feedback. Now, this pop-up will come only once in a 90-day for the user. It can be very easily dismissed also. So, yep, I heard.
For whole operations or only a specific part of the operation?
For whole operation. So it will.
Does it work with partners like ISPs then? Because that's each of the functions.
So it will be enabled for all the users, all the personas, and it will come within 30 seconds of you logging into the product. So we want to get it from each persona, their feedback in terms of how likely you as a partner think that you should recommend this product to other partners. Oh, yeah, I think right now that's a good question, and we are looking into if there is a way to extend this to ISVs and partners also so they can use it. It's an industry across standard metric used across product, not only within Microsoft, but a lot of other companies use it as well. But it is in our interest to make sure that ISVs are also calculating it in the same way so we can measure the quality across the channel, right, in terms of the product quality. You can. Right now you can build it, but eventually we'll look into see how we can extend it to partners and ISVs. Not at this moment. We have not exposed it to customers. It is just right now looked at by our PM team. Yeah. All right. Any questions on Net Promoter Score? Okay. All right. Good. I'm sorry, missed it. It's a good feedback. Right now, we do not enable opt-off functionality, so this will be given to everyone. Now, as I said, you can easily dismiss it. The reason we have kept it prompted is to make the quality of, we at least get some responses. Even with the prompt response, that essentially we have seen across online services, 20% of the time is only when user provide the feedback. So if we turn it off, the number of responses will go down further, and we will miss the quality of feedback. So right now there is no way for you to turn it off, but it can be very easily dismissed with just a second click on the on the cross sign on the top. All right. So you can also give a consent if you want to be reached out by us for any follow-up question on your feedback.
One thing, we're missing the context. Because when I see this as a user, maybe in a company, I think, hey, I'm giving feedback to my IT
That's
guy.
what I was. Yes, that's what I was thinking. How do you know this is Microsoft again?
So the product name is there, Dynamics. I mean, it will call as Dynamics 365 for operations.
I'm a simple user in the company.
Yeah, so I'm gonna my feedback's going to my IT department if I'm a user, basically, and you're gonna see a lot of.
Which is fine. I mean, it's okay if we get that feedback, but essentially, this you will start seeing it in all the Microsoft online services, starting from Azure, like Power BI, Power Apps. All the online services will have this within Microsoft, and it's okay. We will get that kind of feedback, and we'll have to look into that feedback accordingly. But essentially, as I said, the goal for Microsoft is to see how we can make our product development more customer focused as to what customer is thinking about the quality of the product. This is like a perceived quality of the product, and yeah, I mean, so we will look into different personas. We'll connect through the persona as to which persona is the business user, what kind of feedback they are giving versus a developer versus a partner, right? And then we'll go into that to calculate more improvements. I mean, overall, the goal would be to identify some top pain points that we are seeing across user base and see how we can improve it in future. So the other thing that we would enable shortly is a common ideas portal. You folks have seen Connect right now. You might be familiar with it. But most of the time we have seen the feedback that, hey, we have submitted this into Connect and there is not very good visibility into what is happening. And there is, so it has not evolved. The UI has not evolved in terms of where it should be. So we are building a common ideas portal for all Dynamics 365 products. It would kind of align with more what CRM already has, CRM ideas, if you folks are aware of it. CRM has that. We will have a single common portal across Dynamics 365 product where users can come and submit their ideas. They can vote on existing idea. They can look into the status of their own idea. Our PMs will respond on to their ideas, like the idea that he suggested, or some of you suggested for this experience. You can give it there, and partners and other personas can vote on it, and we'll respond on those ideas. So you can come to one single place to look into the status of it. We will actually enable this in two ways. We'll have a standalone portal, ideas portal, and we will also integrate that within the product. So in the Dynamics 365, you went to that question mark, you saw help and support, you will see ideas also. So from there, it will take you directly to ideas portal. It will have different categories for each component in the application, like HR or other. So you can give specific idea to specific component. But that's something we would be releasing within a month time frame. Just want to make you guys aware of it. As you go on that question mark, you will start seeing that ideas link as well. All right. Okay, that's a fair feedback, good feedback. We'll look into it as to how we can export this to others as well. I'm sorry? No, not right now. Not if you're talking about the MPOS. Yeah, not at this moment. Not on the retail. Yeah, we should not because of the interface. Yeah, good. I think he asked. Yeah, good.
Thinking the same.
Okay. 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 Sure. It's easy change. Good one. Sure. I think it's a common snippet which is used across all the Microsoft services, and most of those services are like pure SaaS solution. I mean, ERP is a different world together, but so completely understand that we should change it for ERP. So sounds good.
I think it works with all the other solutions as well. Because they might have the same.
Yeah, but in those cases, mostly you do not have partners, and so that's a fair feedback. Yeah, great. Yeah, please go ahead.
Did you create a Power App or something like that with this field?
In the Power Apps as well, yes. This will come in Power Apps too. And in fact, it is already there, and it has been there for a while in Power Apps. Okay, all right. Any more questions? Okay, if not, thank you everyone for joining this session. Thank you.